Hello everybody! If you are like me, then you are a big fan of everything that speeds up your process and makes your daily life easier. So in today's video, I am going to show you my favorite shortcuts that I use in Craft. A few days ago, I released a video where I showed you how I use Craft as a task manager. So there you can see most of my favorite shortcuts in action. But I have one quick disclaimer, and that's also the reason why this video is a day or two late. Just when I got done filming this tutorial of how to set up the shortcuts, Craft released a new update that actually fixed a few of my pain points. For example, now we can directly access the daily notes from the shortcuts. And I really wanted to reflect those changes in today's tutorial video. So in today's video, I'm going to show you my 5 favorite setups that I use with Craft. The way I rank them is from the easiest to set up to the more complicated ones, but don't worry, I will show you step by step, and I will also create a document on my blog where you can see all the details. And I'm going to show you how to use and set them up on my iPad, because that's the device that I use the most, but I also sync them to my other devices like my phone and use many of them there as well. So the first shortcut that most of you are familiar with, I assume, is just setting up a widget that links to your document in Craft. To add a widget is actually quite easy. All you need to do is press on the home screen until the symbols start to wiggle. Then you click on the plus on the upper left corner, and then you choose Craft, and you can choose a size of your document, but we're just gonna keep with the little one. And once we press Add Widget, it will be added to the home screen. Now if I press on the widget and go on Edit Widget, I can choose which document I want to access, and we're gonna choose Today. And now it will take me directly to today's note. But to be honest, I don't think that this widget is very pretty. I personally prefer it when it's a little bit smaller, like the icon on the left. And the way you can do it is by opening the Shortcuts app, going on the plus up here to start a new shortcut. Then we're going to give it a name, Today. Then when I long press here, I can choose an icon and I can choose the color of the icon. And over here, I just click on Apps, I find Craft, and then I drag and drop the open document over here. Now I can choose a workspace, which is my regular workspace, and here I can choose my document, and I will choose today's note. So now when I run it, it will do exactly the same like the widget. But the benefit now is that when I go on the export options, I can choose to add it to my home screen. And here I can either just use the icon and the color that I just chose, or I can press on it, and I could even choose a photo. So let's take this beautiful picture of me and use it. And then you go Add, and it will add it to our home screen. I'm not going to say that it looks much better than the big one, but at least it's not that big. The second shortcut is how to access your documents quicker. And yes, Craft has a very nice internal search feature, but most of the time I just want to quickly go to a specific document. And there is a very nice way on the iPad and on the iPhone to do that. If you are on your home screen, you can just swipe down in the middle to access the search function. And if you have a keyboard attached, you can just press Command Spacebar from any app to open this one. And in here, you can search for your documents. For example, I want to access my This Week, and it will find my This Week document in Craft, and I'm able to open it very quickly. The third shortcut I want to show you is how you can cleverly use the autofill function to work in your favor. There are apps like Text Expander that are specialized on that, but for simple tasks you really don't need to do that at all. And I want to show you one example that I use a lot. That is how to quickly access GoodNotes documents that I'm working on. So here we are inside of GoodNotes, and let's just assume I have a document that I refer to on a regular basis. Could be my diary, like in this fake case here, or some research notes. And there is a way that saves me a lot of clicks. If I go here on the Share feature, I can click on the Share, and I enable link sharing. Now I go on Send Link, and I copy the link. The next step to do is to go to the Settings app. And here I go on Keyboard, Text Replacement. And I click on the plus in the upper right corner to create a new text replacement. And here in phrase, I will paste the link that I just created. And now I need to find a shortcut that is easy to write and easy to remember, but at the same time unique enough so I don't type it all the time by accident. So I'm just going to use diary. I'm going to press save. So from now on, wherever I am, I can quickly access this link by just typing diary, and it will automatically create this link. And from now on, we have a very easy way to quickly access GoodNote documents or other links. Shortcut number 4 is what I use for my daily and weekly planning. And it's an iOS shortcut, and it looks very complicated in the beginning, but don't worry, it's really not that hard. These shortcuts I showed in my process video, and what they basically do is opening all the documents and calendars and to-do lists that I need on a daily basis to plan my day or to plan my week. So I'm not going to show you how I use those documents in my process, but that you can see in my video that I did last week. And since both my daily plan and my weekly plan shortcuts are very similar, I'm just going to show you how I create the weekly planning shortcut. But I put more information and screenshots on my blog, and you can also directly download the shortcut there. So if you are already a pro in setting up shortcuts, then please feel free to skip this section. But I thought I would show you step by step how to set it up, so you know what is happening, and to give you the ability to create your shortcuts and modify them the way you need them. And to create a new shortcut, we're just going to go to Shortcuts, and up here, go on the plus. We're going to give it a shortcut name. I'm going to call it Weekly Planning 2. So my first step is to decide which documents I want to open in Craft. For my weekly planning, I use my Tikla file, my master task list, and this week documents. So I want my shortcut to open those 3 documents for me. So to add them to my shortcuts, I just come over here and click on Apps on the right side. Then I choose Craft. And here I have a few generic options like Add to Craft Doc or Open a Craft document. But at the bottom, it will show you the documents you opened last. So in my case, it's very practical because all 3 documents are already there. So I'm just going to add the Tikla file, the master task list, and this week by simply pressing on them. If you cannot find the document that you need, then you can go to Open Document, select your workspace, and then find your document there. But we don't need that right now, so I'm just going to press X to remove it. And it will open these 3 documents as separate tabs within Craft. Another step in my process is that I usually check my calendar for upcoming events and to see if I have something to do for them. So I want to create a split screen between Craft and Google Calendar. So to do that, we just go back, and up here we can search for apps and actions, and I will just type in split screen. And here it shows split screen app. I simply tap on it to add it. And then I can choose my 2 apps that I want to open in split screen. And also if I go here on the little arrow, I can select the ratio. So I want 1/3 and 2/3 because I want the calendar to be a little bit smaller. And I want the split screen between Craft and Google Calendar, which is the calendar app that I use. And the last thing I use for my weekly planning is Todoist, because we have a shared to-do list there and I want to see what other people need me to do. So the easiest way would be to just come to Apps, go to Todoist and click on Open a View. But unfortunately this would open in a new window and it would hide all my other things that I want to see. So I want to open the list as a slide over so I can just have a look and then remove it. So the way to do that is just go back again. Search for apps and actions, and now we're going to look for Open App. Again with a tab, I'm just going to add it. And down here, when I now press on the arrow, it gives me the slide over option. So I will toggle that on and I will choose the app Todoist. Now I have one last problem to solve because it will open the last project that I had open in Todoist. But I really wanted to open a specific one. So the way I do it is just go to Apps now. I'm going to go to Todoist. And if it does not show up yet, just wait a second and go Open View Project. And here I choose shared tasks. And if we click up here on the play button, we should be able to run our shortcut. And as you can see, it opened Todoist as a slide over that I can drag in and out if I want. We have the calendar here, and we have our 3 documents in Craft. So everything is ready for me to do my planning, and it saved me a lot of clicks. And if you want to have the shortcut on your home screen, just go ahead and export it and add it to your home screen. Number 5 is a shortcut that I created to quickly enter tasks into my task management. And depending on how urgent the task is, I can send it to different lists. So to create the new shortcut, we click on the plus. I'm going to call it task input. So the first thing is to set up the question where it asks us for the tasks. So we go over here to search, and we search for ask, and here it says ask for input. And it asks for a text with a prompt. And here we just type, which task do you want to add? Next step is to add a text. So we just click on the text, and if we click here once, down here we select the variable provided input. To save me some time later on in organizing my to-dos, I want to send them to different documents depending on the urgency. So if it's an urgent task, I want to send it to my today document. If it's not that urgent, I will just send it to my master task list. And here you will notice one change, because with the last update of Craft, I don't need my navigation document anymore because I can directly access my daily note from the shortcuts. So to set this up, I add choose from menu to my shortcut. In my case, it's already here in the next action suggestions, but otherwise just search for choose from menu. And now we can choose a prompt. So I'm just going to say urgent. And we're going to add a new item, and we're going to call it yes, and the second one, no. And as you can see, it created those 2 little headers underneath, and depending on my answer, it will run whatever action is underneath it. So if my task is urgent, as I mentioned, I want to add it to my today's document in Craft. So I'm just going to go to apps, Craft, and I'm going to go to add to Craft doc, because I don't want to create a new one, I just want to add it to an existing one. So I add this, then I drag and drop this up so it's underneath the yes headline. And then I'm going to say add my text down here at the bottom at select variable. I click on text, but I only need it once, to my workspace and to the document today. If it's not urgent, I want to add it to my master task list. So again, add to Craft doc. Drag and drop it up to the right place underneath the no, and I want to add the text to my workspace, to my document master task list. And now it would already be working. There is just one thing that I always like to choose. If I click on the little arrow here, it gives me the option to choose append or prepend. Append means it will add it to the bottom of the document, and prepend means it adds it to the top. In my case, I prefer prepend, so I'm going to change to prepend for both. And now if we run the shortcut by hitting the play button, it will ask us which task do you want to add. So a good task for you guys would be to subscribe to my channel. I think that's an excellent task. When we press done, it will ask us if it's urgent, yes or no. I believe it's very urgent that you subscribe to my channel, so I will say yes. And I just updated my iPad, so now it always asks me for all kinds of privacy things, so I'm going to go allow. And now if I click on today's note, we have it here, subscribe to my channel. Unfortunately, I have not found yet a way to quickly turn this into a to-do automatically, but usually I just mark them and select to-do. And if you have no idea where to start with Craft, I released a beginner's tutorial, which I will link somewhere right here. So thanks for watching, and I see you in the next video. Bye!